And listen to me and listen to me good. If there's no connection with God, going back to that, because through the Most High and the Holy Spirit, that gives us direction towards a kingdom to fight for. A meeting point to see the Christ who sacrificed his life for us. That's a passion in of itself that we're willing to lay our lives down for, like the disciples. But what if you have a world filled with unbelievers who question the authenticity of the Bible and Christ's resurrection? See? Then what passion do they have beyond this sinful world? And then the courts and all these others separate family, make it where having a regular relationship is a struggle, a fight, just to be with someone you care for. Then either side is going to look at this and say, you know what? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's emotionally taxing to be with someone. Right? And you'll start believing this whole thing is wrong God set up between man and woman. You'll start deluding yourself into believing that God was wrong instead of fighting for the image of God, so that you'll have something to die for and fight for and something to protect, because you know what? You fought for it. You battled to keep it together. See? So that's what that stupor does. That stupor makes people what? Apathetic. Without care. And so many times what happens? You put 2 feet into a work and you did everything that you were supposed to do, and guess what? You got disappointed. You got disappointed, and now that frustrated that walk or that connection or that passion you had with God, and now you're standing with God even though he called you to the truth, and you're telling him, I'm not doing it no more. It's not worth it. That's the stupor. This is the sign that most people have ignored. Here's the mentality of the people who came out of the pandemic. The world was beat down. We were beat down. Families were getting separated. All types of stuff was happening before the pandemic. Guess what, folks? We were skating on thin ice. Even before that so-called pandemic happened, and then they closed everything down and put everyone into a psychological frenzy. And then guess what? The people who went into the pandemic with a certain mentality came out with a different one for those who don't have a foundation. Hit that like button for me because I'm going in. Elder Lawya, I need you to read that out of Baruch once more for the people real quick.
Yes, sir. The book of 2 Baruch, chapter 25 and verse 3.
25 verse 3. Let me pull it up. Let's read it.
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
No, go to the go back to the 25 and 1.
Yes, sir. Verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, Thou too shalt be preserved till that time, till the sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days. This therefore shall be the sign.
This shall be the sign that we should have all been looking for. Here's the sign in 2 Baruch. When a what?
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
The stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth. Read.
And they shall fall into many tribulations.
And the world will fall into many tribulations. There'll be troubles right after this. Now, what makes the troubles even more what? I would say more rampant in the earth or grow beyond control is the point that everyone will be what? Each man for themselves. And that makes the tribulations even worse because there's no one to fight for. Right? And it says, they shall fall into many tribulations. Read.
And again, when they fall into great torments, when they shall fall into great torments. Verse 4. And it will come to pass when they say in their thoughts, by reason of their much tribulation.
Because people are going through so much hell, they have tried everything they could. Guess what? And things still isn't working for them. They tried everything. They did everything they thought was right and was disappointed. So then people are going through hell over and over and over again to a point where what? Naturally, they would begin to give up. Read.
And when it shall come to pass, when they say in their thoughts, by reason of their much tribulation, the mighty one doth no longer remember the earth.
That's the mindset that comes into a person who becomes an unbeliever. They'll see the hell, not realizing that this hell was prophesied. They'll see the state of man and be disappointed by man. And they'll know that it's prophetic that there'll be evil men in the earth doing wrong things and evil women in the earth. But instead of that strengthening their faith, they'll look to God and say, the Most High, he no longer remember this earth, if he exists at all. See, that unbelief starts seeping into your mind based on the number of disappointments in life you have experienced. You get disappointments in life, and then people you trust or you thought you could have faith in, they disappointed you. And now you're looking at it and you're questioning everything now. You're questioning everything. And that's where Satan wants us, defenseless. And the answer was in Christ the whole time. But Satan will wear on us, and he'll wear on us, and he'll put weight on us to a degree where we begin to, and the only thing we can look to is to blame the Most High at the end of it and question everything. And it says right here, then through that stupor, a mind going to come into people, and they're going to say, I need to question everything I knew as far as who this God is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because this thing ain't work out for me. And he's not the God I thought he was. So then doubt comes into the mind of one who was strengthened and once was strong in the power of the Almighty in his word. When it wasn't, the Most High didn't do anything to you. He's trying man to see who's worthy as his son. He's trying us in this adversity within the earth to see who's truly worthy to receive this great kingdom that's coming if you truly believe he's bringing it. Yea,
it will come to pass when they abandon hope.
It says the world will abandon hope. Read.
That the time will then awake.
And at that time will then awake. While everybody's giving up hope, the Most High is looking at those who stood through all that adversity and are as strong as they were since the time he called them to the fight. And at that point, you're going to know those who truly believed in Christ. You're going to understand that there's some faith and strength in people who's willing to fight and hold the fort all the way to the end, even against all odds, because the whole world has fallen into unbelief. Now, the sign we're talking about is the stupor. Let me go here real quick. Stupor.
Stupor.
What is the stupor according to what the Most High showed Baruch as a sign before the end? Well, a stupor is a state of near unconsciousness or insensibility. It makes it where people are apathetic and they don't care like they used to anymore. Listen, man, I'm just going to take care of my family, right? I'm just going to do what's right for me and what's right by myself. Because I can't trust anyone anyway, right? That's where the devil wants you. Because Christ prepared a body. At the very end, it tell you in Enoch that he would take a cord and gather the elect to the elect. Those of like mind who were serious about this from the beginning would be the ones standing in the awakening to guide God's people through this. This has nothing to do with organizations. It has nothing to do with what church or group you come from. It has everything to do with whether or not you were chosen to stand through the stupor. A state of unconsciousness or insensibility. Folks, it's a sign of the stupor when people just don't care anymore. I don't ever want to lose that passion. If I'm going to stand, even at my very last breath, to stand with the word, bringing forth the knowledge of the Almighty, bringing forth the kingdom of heaven, even if it's my last breath, that's what I'll be doing. I never want to lose that. That's my purpose. And I don't care what men do. Men can disappoint. Men will frustrate you. Guess what? Men will disappoint you. But my faith isn't in men. My faith have always been in Christ. I know he's real. And when men disappoint, when men say all types of ill things against you, when men mock you, when men leave you for dead, Christ is still there. I've gone through every level of betrayal you can imagine. And I was able to weed through it. So to not look at anyone negative who said or did anything against me. I'm going to tell you that right now. And you know why I took that position? Because that's what Christ would have done. Because they were trying to what? Have me give up. Okay? They wanted to see me gone. But Christ, I held on to Christ. And at the end of it, Christ had me looking back through all my scenarios that I look at, be it betrayal or anything. And Christ would in my conscience would say, don't worry about it. Forgive them. Because I was taking you through that to make you stronger. There's something coming that you'll need to understand a certain strength to get to the end of this. Don't feel no negative about anyone who've done anything against you, because I took you through this to try you, to make you worthy for this kingdom. Love them anyway. Care for them anyway. Look out for them if you can. That was just an experience. And that's why it says, once the stupor hit the earth, then the awakening happens. This is when you find out who's truly with the Most High. Anybody can be with the Most High when everything is going, what? Like you think it should be going based on your connection with God. But hey, God will throw you a curveball. He'll throw you something to see if you can persevere through it. He'll test your faith to see if you believe like you claim to believe when you're shouting out to everyone else, come to the Most High. Come to Christ. He's going to test that. He's going to test that. So that stupor is what? It tells you here. Here's the sign. A state of near unconsciousness or insensibility. Let me tell you, Satan's plan is to get some of the Most High's greatest soldiers out of the fight. He knows how effective you are. Satan understands how effective you are or how influential you are. Hey, folks, don't you, brothers and sisters, don't you know Satan would love if I was on the sideline and didn't open my mouth ever again? He'd be like, oh my God, I'm so glad this guy isn't in the war. This guy never stops fighting. And that's why Christ said, don't let no one steal your crown. Ain't no men giving out crowns around here. We must endure and fight with the same vigor we received when we received this truth, which is the first love that's written. And he wrote to the churches in Revelation, the book of Revelation. He says, I got a problem with you because you forgot your first love. Where's that passion you had for the God who called you at a time when you didn't even know yourself? Where's that fight? Now it's about, well, listen, I just got to do what's right for myself and my family, while God's family lie waste, while our people are about to go through tribulation, when Christ is calling every man to this war. It talks about the stupor. And guess what? You see what they're doing? Satan is rallying all of his troops, regardless of what people think. This is a spiritual war. This is a confederacy with them bringing all the NATO armies together. Guess what? Satan is bringing his army together. But yet, you got the people in the earth who should be standing against evil in a
stupor.
In a stupor. What is a stupor? What is this prophecy? A condition of greatly dulled or completely suspended sense or sensibility. A person who really don't care like they used to. A chiefly mental condition marked by absence of spontaneous movement, greatly diminished responsiveness to stimulation, and usually impaired consciousness. You don't care like you used to. A state of extreme apathy or torpor, resulting often from what? Listen. Stress or shock. Which means you have gone through so much, you just don't have it in you to fight anymore. You don't have it in you anymore. So much disappointment, so much stress, so much shock. To a degree where it's like, you know what? I'm giving up. I'm going to tell you. But giving up isn't, I'm going to tell you right now, folks, giving up isn't an option. Because what they're bringing forth, either you fight or you get rolled over. And I'm talking about a spiritual war. And guess what? I'm not just talking about you. Listen, I'm talking about all of us. Me included. All of us. Not fighting through this isn't an option, or you're going to get rolled over anyway. Now let's go in. Let's go back to Baruch. Elder, let's read him through.
Yes, sir. Chapter 26, verse 1. And I answered and said, will that tribulation which is to be continue a long time, and will that necessity embrace many years? 27 and 1.
Now read that again, Elder Lawya. I just pulled it up. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Baruch, 2 Baruch 26 and 1. And I answered and said, will that tribulation which is to be continue a long time, and will that necessity embrace many years?
It says, will this tribulation go a long time, or will that necessity embrace many years? So he's asking, how long will we have to go through this? And then the Most High answers according to prophecy, folks, and we're in those times. We're in the last days. Read.
27 verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part...
Now when it says 12 parts, is that time divided? It's speaking of 12 separate prophecies we must look at. That comes down to the last Jubilee, before Christ would need to crack this atmosphere to save us. Now, no man knoweth the day or the hour, but a Jubilee is 50 years. And even Christ says that he must cut their time short, because if he don't cut their time short, no flesh would be saved. No flesh would be saved if he didn't cut the time they have short. So this is the 12 things we have to look at prophetically, leading to what? The consummation. Consummation means what? It's done. The kingdom comes. So let's break down these 12 parts. And brothers and sisters, tell me we're not in these times today. And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided. And each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. And the first is what?
In the first part, there shall be the beginning of commotions.
The beginning of commotions. People out, shouting, going up against government, protesting, rioting. Read.
In the second part, there shall be slaying of the great ones.
Slaying of the great ones. Hearing of those who had high esteem and influence amongst the people dying, getting killed by government. Read.
In the third part, the fall of many by death.
The fall of many by death. Folks, even last time during this so-called pandemic, they had a counter on television giving people up-to-date information on how many dead. Whether it be for whatever choices they were making during that time, they were actually doing what? They had a counter updating people on deaths. And folks, that was just a test run for what's coming. And I'm not speaking of what I think is going to happen. I'm going to take you all to the Bilderberg meeting. The meeting that they were having at the same time they were telling you about P. Diddy, the same time while they were dropping bombs on Iran, they were meeting about something. I'm going to show y'all what's in those meetings today to make full sense of everything we're witnessing on earth. Folks, the immigration isn't what you think it is. They are strategically using the cloud of immigration to put troops, foreign troops from Ukraine and everywhere else in strategic areas like they did in 70 AD. To keep them dormant until they're commanded to do something different. Now, they're going to strategically put them there through immigration, but they're going to be there a while. They're going to be there a while. So they're not going to immediately come against the people until the narrative change. The fall of many by death. Like they were given a counter. Now, they weren't telling people that after those choices were made based on what they were saying, after people made the choices, then they never explained how the deaths began to go up even more when people thought they were doing what they were supposed to do to avoid death. Right? Now that's getting rid of, according to them, the useless eaters, so that they can engage those who are really a threat to them without fillers, without people in the middle or buffers. Because eventually they're going to come after the righteous and those who can see them. But not before they get rid of the useless eaters or the herd first. And in the fourth part, what, Elder Lawya?
And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword. And in the fifth part...
Hold up. Just stop right there. In the fourth part, the sending of the sword. Sending troops off to war. Now, all these are different parts leading to the consummation. Now, some people might think, well, these are signs chronologically to give us some insight to how long we have before the consummation. But no, it's not that simple. I'm going to show you why you can't look at it chronologically and say, well, this, and this might happen in order and then kingdom. I'm going to show you why you can't see it that way. And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword, read.
Verse 6. And in the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain.
In the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain. Weather modification. Where rain is being sent in one area and there's a drought in other areas. Right? And the sixth part, what?
And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors.
Earthquakes and terrors. Look at these earthquakes we've been hearing about. Not including, a lot of people forgot how traumatic that earthquake in Haiti was. What about the one that happened in India, where the earth opened up and swallowed those Babylonians over there? See? Read.
Verse 10 or verse 9. And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shadim.
When it says a multitude of specters and the attacks of the Shadims are demon attacks, spiritual attacks. That's why under Project Paperclip, they had a drug LSD component that they were utilizing through, not allegedly, true, afterwards, through Charles Manson and all these others in California to test out the hallucinogens so that the spirits, the Nephilim, the children of Nephilim, the demons, can now use people as hosts who are under certain drugs and others. This, let me tell you folks, this go way back before the flood. Using drugs as a gateway. Why you say they call it a gateway? This is how spirits take host or take hold of people. And attacks of the specters in the Shadim. That's why even in a lot of your drugs out there, people take drugs for certain ailments or whatever, and they have side effects like suicidal thoughts. Okay? Think about that. It's supposed to help you physically, but now you're thinking about, after taking a drug, taking yourself out and hacking everybody else up around you. And no one is putting two and two together. How after people got that stuff coming out of the pandemic, how there's what? There's unexplained aggression, criminality, and crime that we never witnessed before the pandemic. And we're not putting two and two together. What did they do to the people that now are ridden with demons? Was there a component of that within some of the stuff? Neurologically and otherwise. I'm just asking a question. Now, I know the answer. But was some of this stuff they were giving people a gateway to allow spirits into their temples, into their bodies? And is that why we are witnessing the aggression and the unexplained criminality right now since coming out of the pandemic? That's an attack of the specters in the Shadim. Demon attacks. Read.
Verse 10. And in the ninth part, the fall of fire.
The fall of fire. Look what happened in Maui, Hawaii. Look what's happened. Look what happened in California even before that. And then right before that, the fires that broke out in Canada that no one could explain. That some people were claiming, allegedly, arson was involved. Here's the signs. And the 10th part, what?
And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression.
Rapine and much oppression. Oppression comes what? From a lack of finances. People are being fired. Now they've inundated the United States and the Western world with what? With immigrants, with illegals, people who aren't citizens, to drive down wages where now they have to pay American citizens 15% less than what they would normally have to pay them right now. Because why? Supply and demand. The job market is so antiquated, people are working for the bare minimum just to survive and have something to food to put on the table. That's oppression. Especially when your people have fought, died for certain rights that would allow you to have a better quality of life. But that's gone. If they open up the job market where other people are preferred over you, that drives down the wages because these people aren't going to ask for raises. Not with the green card being held over their head or the threat of what? Extradition. So they're willing to work for slave labor, which pull the people down who used to have something in this country. Oppression. And at the same time, cut off welfare. Cut off housing. And not letting anyone understand what is the alternative now that there's no jobs. Folks, I'm reading this. This was in a book, okay, that I grabbed 20 years ago. And it's breaking down real-time prophecy as if the Most High gave it to me yesterday. It's like the Most High is reporting what's going on in real time. And you think if he's reporting this, then don't you know that he gives solutions for those who believe? How to navigate through it, knowing what's about to happen and how Christ said it would happen and how the Most High showed us it would happen is half the battle. Because now we're not walking through this tribulation blind. We have both eyes open. And therefore we can see how to navigate through this. And in the 11th part, what?
And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
Wickedness and unchastity. Why? Because if there's oppression and there's no relationships and bills must be paid, then the cost of lustful pleasures go down. So now women must sell their body to survive, and now men are thriving, sinning through the low market. Being able to get a woman for almost nothing because she needs the money to survive. And because men now the market have been driven down for lustful sin, sex, the men aren't committing to any woman to marry because they're getting their needs satisfied that way and going about their business. So not to sacrifice their future thinking that what? That marriage is a trap. That's what they're thinking. That's how they've been programmed to think. And they satisfy their needs through the oppression because the women are now selling their bodies for nothing. That's the reality of the world we're in. There's a domino effect. If there's oppression and people can't pay the rent, women are going to use what they have to survive. See? And if there's so many people selling their bodies, that lowers the market for the street. And now even those in the world are dealing with women for almost nothing. And now their carnal lusts are being satisfied through that. They don't feel no need to actually commit to a loving, righteous relationship. That's what the end of the world looks like. It's sad, but here's the reality. We need to wake up from the stupor and understand this is the reality of the world we live in. We're living in a world, whether we accept it or not, that girls can't wait to be 18 to get OnlyFans. Because an 18-year-old OnlyFans, that's when they maximize that first year, because everybody, all these lustful demons that are paying women on OnlyFans, they cycle out each year or all the time, and they go for the younger girl who just got on the market, paying $5 or whatever they're paying to see the new girl. So the reality is you have broken homes, you have, girls that don't have anything happening, then guess what? They look at it, I'll take an year of my life, get on OnlyFans, and make about, 6 figures to get on my feet. That's the new world. That's the new world we're in now. Wickedness and unchastity, which means what? Unchastity means what? Virgins no longer hold their virtue. Mm-hmm. For men who would deserve it. The body is a transaction now. It's devalued. That's the only thing they see their bodies as right now in this world is a tool to get through life with. That's why it says wickedness and unchastity. Because through wickedness and unchastity, that leads to more war, more fighting, more envy, more death. That's what it leads to, a domino effect. Now people out in the street, they're doing this. You talking to my girl, this, that, and the other, boom, killing people and all that because what? Unchastity rules. And the option is what? Not to be with one man because I have to compensate in all these different areas. So I'll have a man for everything, and each man brings a price. That's the world we're in. And in the 12th part, what?
13. And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid.
And then that's what it says. The 12th part isn't a part at all. The 12th part is the mingling of all of those. And this is what's confusing the people. They don't know whether they're going or coming. They don't know if God is like in the chapter before that. They think God have left the earth. What God would allow this chaos to be going on. So now it's one thing today. It's Diddy today. It's what's his name? Tyler Perry tomorrow.
Tyler Perry.
Right? Then I seen a girl, K. Michelle. She's out there crying, talking about, oh my God, we need black families. And last week she's talking about, white men love me. People are just, it doesn't even make sense. It's crazy. It's a confusion of all of it. Then you got fire, earthquakes. But you know what it's all for? Think about it, folks. Satan is cutting loose in the world to destabilize what? Unbelieving souls. Uncertain souls. But if you are standing with the Most High, you can see it from the outside like he's viewing it to make sense of it all. Right? Understand how it is. Understand, it's misdirection. If I have fearful people who don't know what's going on, I have them look at this way, and then I can destroy them in the area they're not watching. And through it all, picking them all off one at a time. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.